There are places in this world where time does not move forward. It settles, it gathers, it waits. Deep within this forest, beyond broken trails and fallen trees, something impossible was standing in silence. At first glance, it looked like nothing more than twisted metal swallowed by nature. But when the fog shifted, you could see it. A wing, half buried, corroded still. 70 years ago, this machine sliced through clouds at high altitude. Today, it could barely hold itself upright. The landing gear had sunk into the soil. The propeller blades were bent backward from a violent impact. The cockpit canopy shattered. Long ago, leaving the interior exposed to decades of rain, frost, and decay, moss had grown across the fuselage like a slow-moving infection. The aluminum skin was blistered from oxidation, rivets had loosened, panels warped. And yet, the shape was unmistakable. A World War II fighter aircraft. Abandoned. Forgotten. But not erased. There is something unsettling about seeing a machine designed for war. Reduced to silence, you start asking questions. Who flew it? What mission was it on? Was this crash an escape? Or the end? The forest offered no answers, only stillness. But standing there, staring at it, you didn't feel like you were looking at scrap metal. You felt like you were looking at a story that never finished. And some stories refused to stay buried. That day we made a decision, not just to recover an aircraft, but to restore memory. And we had no idea how much of it was left. To understand what this aircraft became, we must understand what it once was. It was 1944. The world was fractured. Entire cities burned beneath black smoke. Factories roared day and night, shaping aluminum and steel into instruments of survival. And from one of those assembly lines, this fighter was born. A single-engine, low-wing monoplane, powered by a liquid-cooled V-12, piston engine capable of over 1,400 horsepower, 3 metal blades slicing through air at lethal efficiency. Its fuselage riveted aluminum panels over a reinforced frame. Lightweight, agile, deadly. Inside the cockpit, no automation, no digital screens, only gauges, fuel pressure, oil temperature, RPM, altitude, and a single pilot. The canopy sealed, the engine roaring, the runway disappearing beneath spinning wheels. Within seconds, it would be airborne, climbing into clouds where visibility dropped and survival depended on instinct. At altitude, the air thinned, the engine strained, the wings flexed against turbulence. And then came the enemy, tracer rounds streaking through gray skies. Explosions in the distance. The aircraft rolled, dove, accelerated, every maneuver calculated in milliseconds. This was not just transportation. It was an extension of the pilot's body. Every scratch in the paint, every burn mark near the exhaust, every stress fracture in the metal was earned. And yet machines don't know fear. They only respond. Throttle forward, stick back, fire, climb, return, until one day, it didn't. We don't know the exact moment it lost power, but we know how it ended. Something failed. Maybe fuel contamination, maybe mechanical fatigue, maybe damage from combat. The propeller tells part of the story. The blades were twisted, not cleanly broken. That means the engine was still turning when it struck the ground. The landing gear collapsed on impact. The right wing took the majority of the force. The fuselage buckled slightly near the cockpit frame, and then silence. No fire, no explosion, just an aircraft forced into the earth. The pilot? Gone. Whether rescued, captured, or worse, history doesn't say. What we do know is this. The aircraft remained, through winters where ice froze inside its engine block, through summers where heat expanded and cracked its panels, water pooled inside open cavities, oxidation spread across bare aluminum like a slow disease, steel components rusted completely, electrical wiring disintegrated, rubber seals turned brittle and snapped. Over decades, nature tightened its grip. Roots grew beneath the tires, branches pressed against the wings, leaves gathered inside the cockpit. The machine that once ruled the sky became part of the ground, and still, it stood. Restoration begins with humility. Before rebuilding, you must accept how much is lost. The aircraft was carefully transported from the forest to the workshop, every movement supported to prevent structural collapse. The first stage was documentation. Thousands of photographs, every dent recorded, every crack measured. Then, disassembly, The wings were removed first. Corrosion had eaten into the internal spars. Several ribs were structurally compromised. These would need full fabrication. The fuselage panels were drilled out rivet by rivet. Many snapped under pressure. The engine was extracted using a reinforced hoist. When opened, the damage was severe. Cylinder head seized, camshaft corrosion deep. Oil system completely contaminated. The crankshaft locked solid from internal rust expansion. This wasn't repair. This was reconstruction. Landing gear assemblies were stripped down. Hydraulic pistons beyond salvage. Brake systems unusable. Electrical harness entirely replaced. Every part placed on tables. Tagged, labeled, studied. Because restoration is not about making something new. It's about understanding what it was before you dare to rebuild it. Moved and cleaned ultrasonically. Cylinder walls honed to restore compression. New bearings fitted to exact tolerance. Crankshaft balanced to prevent vibration failure. Fuel system rebuilt from tank to injector. Cooling lines replaced. Ignition rewired. Weeks of precision assembly. Then, installation. Fuel added. Oil filled. Manual propeller rotation to circulate lubrication. Final inspection. Silence in the workshop. Ignition engaged. The starter motor groaned. Metal resisted. Then, a cough, a burst of smoke, another attempt, and suddenly, combustion. The V-12 roared unevenly at first, then stabilized. Oil pressure climbed. Exhaust cleared. After 70 years of silence, it spoke again. Runway stretched ahead like a memory waiting to be relived. Pre-flight checks complete. Wind within safe limits. Throttle advanced slowly. The engine responded to strong. The aircraft began rolling. Faster. Tail lifting. Control surfaces responsive. And then, lift. The wheels separated from Earth. 70 years of stillness, broken in a single moment. The wings held firm. The engine steady. It climbed. Not into war, not into combat, but into remembrance. This was no longer a weapon. It was history restored, proof that decay is not always the end. Sometimes, it's just the beginning of a second flight.